What's up, everybody? Thanks for coming back to, listening to, and otherwise supporting the Porrada Podcast. Welcome to 2025. This will be the first episode of the year. Of course, it was recorded last year, and of course, it was recorded several weeks ago. You know how I do it. It's Marvin Blumer. He was at Jiu-Jitsu Overdose. If you don't know what that is, look into it. But otherwise, we're getting a nice summary of the events from Mar in this episode. Pretty cool deal. Pretty cool that the old dog is still doing it, mixing it up with these young guys. So it was fun to hear his take on it, his experience out there. Before we jump in, exciting news on the podcast sponsorship front. I'm just going to put it right in front of you here for those of you watching. Salt Electrolytes. We've got a discount code for 15% off. It's Porrada, Porrada. I'm a big fan of this product. Products like it, frankly. And by that I mean anything other than the stuff behind the glass doors at the convenience store. You know, from the Minotaur, Taste the Beast stuff, all the way to Gatorade, which tastes like a far cry from what I remember as a kid. I drank a lot of that stuff. Bottom line, with how you feel, with your health, with your performance, is probably sleep, but second to that is probably hydration. And the bottom line with hydration, let's be honest, is how you feel during and frankly after a workout. A lot of things to replenish when it comes to hydration, well beyond just water. Frankly, nothing but water for those of us who train a lot. Starts to work against you after a while. Starts to not feel quite as sharp as you could, and that's what these products are all about. This one, the focus is on 5-6 key electrolytes plus a splash of iodine, as Riley says, and finding the proper combinations of these things to maximize their usage. Nothing worse than using a product that your body can't even use. So far, my favorite is the mango. That's the one that stuck out to me right off the bat. But I definitely recommend trying out a mix pack and pick your favorite and get through those training sessions easier and better. Gonna hear a lot more about them, but also shout out to Hamel Jiu-Jitsu, my home away from home when it comes to Jitsu. I think I said that right. Also shout out to Way of the Tiger Soap Company, the best soap I've ever tried. You might not be good at Jiu-Jitsu, you guys, but you can smell good at Jiu-Jitsu. And without further ado, my second conversation on these microphones with Marvin Blumer.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, so speaking of topics, got two of them in mind. The first one is, what was this thing you were at?
So it was Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds, the lightweights.
Well, there's a bunch of stuff going on, huh?
Oh, yeah. So it was called Jiu-Jitsu Overdose. So an overdose of Jiu-Jitsu.
Nice. So we're going to talk about that for sure. And we're going to talk about the Uncommon Classic.
Yeah.
I'm going to get your take on it. I had James on a few weeks back.
Oh, yeah.
Got his take, so I want to hear your thoughts, reflections, whatever.
All right.
But first and foremost, give me the basic intro, just in case people didn't hear the last episode. Who are you?
Well, I'm sometimes known as one half of the Minnesota Bash Brothers, or my MMA name, the Terminator, or the MSMA Terminator, if you compete at the Uncommon Classics. Otherwise, I'm Marvin Blumer, the head coach up here at Minnesota School of Martial Arts.
Easy enough. You've done some fights and some competitions. Give me some highlights.
Yeah, so I fought for one amateur MMA title, and I won that one in my second amateur fight. Nice. I also fought for two professional titles, won one and lost one. So I'm technically the Fearless Fighting Bantamweight champion, and I also fought for the King of the Cage world title against Frankie Saenz. I've pretty much fought for every big promotion that is not the UFC. So,
how many total fights?
I think I am somewhere around 26 MMA fights, and if you add boxing and kickboxing there, I gotta be somewhere around getting close to 50 at this point. So
that's a lot.
Yes.
That's a lot.
And
Jiu-Jitsu comps and stuff too, huh?
Oh yeah, yep. So I've tried to compete in as many jiu-jitsu competitions as I can. So I've competed for all the big ones. Naga, Fight to Win, IBGF Masters Worlds, Nogi Worlds, all them fun ones. I've also been fortunate enough to fight in 4 different countries now. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I was fortunate enough to fight for ZST Japan. I got to go there in 2013. I got to coach in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, when my brother fought one of GSP's teammates, and I also now now I've also competed in Mexico, and competed in 11 different states. So over my almost 20 years here, try to stay as busy as possible.
Yeah, clearly very busy. Head coach here. What does that mean? Tell me about the program. What's going on here?
Well, we have 3 black belts here, even though we're a small school here in this little city of Chisago City, Minnesota, about 45 minutes northeast of the Twin Cities. So what head coach means is there's 3 of us black belt coaches here. The other 2 black belt coaches still have full-time jobs. So myself, 3 years ago, I decided to live out my dream, quit my day job, and see if I could make this little gym in the middle of Chisago, pay my bills. The tricky part was none of us ever started this gym for monetary value. We wanted to bring something cool back to the place that us 3 grew up in, so we wanted to bring quality martial arts. My biggest thing is that some of the people, when I started martial arts, there was a little bit of bullshito going around still. Sure. So I didn't want to be a martial arts teacher that was like, you should try this. And when you ask me how it worked in my competition, I'd go, wow.
Yeah.
To go with that, I've seen it done. I've done, this, but I wanted to be able to this is what you should do. Here's an example. So
pressure tested stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. One of the true martial arts, But we've been essentially a remote, because we didn't have a direct lineage on a day-to-day business. So I was just fortunate enough to have some really good friends that wanted to be the best in the world of martial arts, as I did. I'm not saying I'm one of them. I'm still trying, but luckily enough, that gives you bodies, and the knowledge was out there. And if you really want something bad enough, you'll seek out the knowledge and you'll do the reps it takes. So here we are, almost 20 years later.
Bringing something back to where you grew up in your home community, that ties into why you guys did the Uncommon Classic at the brewery, if I recall, right?
100%. Yeah, me and my brother, actually, it originally was going to become, we wanted, because we started as MMA guys first, and then became, just a full-on mixed martial artist. Really, I was more of a stand-up fighter first, and kept getting taken down, so needed to learn something off my back. So we actually me and my brother always talked about bringing MMA here, and it just never really came to fruition. And me and James, over the last couple of years, with me and his collaboration, we're able to bring an idea, which is kind of a lack of a better team, a pipe dream into into fruition. So, and that became the Uncommon Classic. So,
well, you have a tie to that building.
I do. My dad.
This is the cool detail for me. You told the story, so I want to hear it on the mics.
So my dad is a retired firefighter for the Chisago Lakes or Chisago City Fire Department, and the building that the Uncommon Brewery used to be in, or the Uncommon Loom Brewery used to be in, used to be the firehouse that I used to go to as a kid. So when we did because I always trying to do stuff for the community. So back when we did turkey bingo, that's where it was when I was a kid. When we would do, go wash the trucks, that's where we would go wash the trucks and meet all the firefighters. And when the alarm went off, that's where Dad would run off to go help people. So it was pretty awesome. And all these years later, I was able to now bring him back there, for something completely different. So it was pretty cool.
Something that was his and now something that was yours. It's pretty cool touch to it, in my opinion.
Yeah, which I think, brings out the sentimental values back for him as well as well for me,
For
so every
sure.
time I step in that building, I remember being a little kid running back and forth, so probably bugging everybody, I'm sure, especially between me and Melvin. So.
Yeah, for sure. Reflect on it. We've had 3 of those now, and you're part of the production team, so to speak, for the Uncommon Classic. How's it going? What do you like? What do you not like? What's working with it, et cetera, et cetera?
Well, I feel like each one that we've been able to bring something else to the table, I think that we're getting through some of them first couple bumps we had in the beginning. At the beginning, it was always, how are we going to do this, especially when we start talking live streams. Again, thank God Hubs is amazing with all that stuff, and he has, his set of skills is, something that I will never be able to do.
Same, as a matter of fact, despite, anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, so, after Hubs came back, obviously, if you guys have listened to his podcast with you, if you haven't, get back there and listen to it. It's a great podcast to hear his story of, so when he came back, essentially, I got to see all the skills he acquired because we were friends for many, many years prior to him, coming back. So when I see these new skills, I knew there was going to be a purpose other than him obviously trying to help me build the gym up as far as that being more visual. I knew his skills were going to transpire to something else, and at that time I wasn't quite sure. And then me and him over time kept talking about getting the show together, and then finally we decided, let's set a date, and we started building something. So from that first one where we're luckily me and himself have competed, for many different places. Like I said, I've competed for everybody pretty much except the UFC. So I got to see a lot of different ways a lot of different productions went. So I think we both had a very good idea of what we wanted to make that happen on the first one. Definitely didn't happen, but I thought we did very, very good, And,
that's part of that is the insider bias. Like, you saw all the mistakes and the rough patches. Everybody else maybe just stood around and waited a little longer than they would have thought here and there. And then the show went on. Like, that's that weird thing where you see all the disaster that's happening, but everybody else is just waiting for the next match.
Right. Well, that's good. That's good because in the background, me and Hub are going, all right, we're problem solving on the moment. And hopefully else nobody does notice it, but it feels like we're getting better. Making the right improvements each one, and I feel like each one's getting a little bigger. And really, for the most part, and I believe he feels the same way, is that I feel like, the athletes, people like yourself that are a part of it with us, are appreciating it each time even more and more, because that's really, we really just want to make an amazing place for these athletes and other people around the sport to showcase their skills. This for us is that we want to build this as a community, like all of us together, because there's so many, again, I've been doing this in Midwest for, almost 20 years now. And there's so many amazing people in front of the camera, behind the camera, that sometimes get overlooked and just don't get their shine. And we wanted to create a place that felt different than other shows, I guess, and but still had that community vibe. And as a community, we're all going to grow, and I hope that's why all the athletes, the people like yourself, all enjoy being a part of it, because we want to try to help create these, hopefully once in a lifetime moments.
Yeah. And the cool thing is the trying of different stuff. Like, we got a kids match and an intermission. We've got live musician, super cool. Why not?
Yeah.
But the one I want to ask you about though is the judo match.
Okay.
Because it was great. I think it's a perfect inclusion.
Yeah.
We were reffing it, if
Correct.
I recall.
Yep.
But you could tell it kind of miffed the room.
For sure.
Because when the match was done, everybody was sort of expecting it to begin in a way. We're all so used to being on the ground,
Yep.
Did that feel for you the way it felt for us?
Yeah, it did. And I actually, as far as the finishes of judo matches go, I may or may not let it go a little bit longer than it really with impound really
Knowing
would
so
be.
little about judo, it was kind of my impression.
Yeah.
But, I get it.
Yeah, just because, again, the room. So this is our our attempt, judo is one of my favorite martial arts.
Super
so
cool.
I really, really would like to do that. I have some students that are really, really big judo fans. Obviously, one of them was in the judo match. So this is my attempt to start building some more knowledge around judo.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
with that one being said, there's definitely things we're going to do a little bit different to try to help educate people to get them there. But
Know
you
what
got
they're
to start
expecting.
somewhere.
Definitely.
And we said to a bunch of jiu-jitsu people, hey, we're going to do a judo match. I assume they would be a little bit more in tune to what was going on.
Yeah,
But, hey,
yeah.
that's me as a judo dork, though.
Yeah,
I'm a
for
judo
sure.
dork. So, I'm thinking I'm a jiu-jitsu guy. You know, I should say I'm a martial arts dork.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I like
yeah.
judo. So when you say judo match, I'm like, oh, okay, I get this.
Know exactly what to
Yeah,
expect.
exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
So the rest of them, maybe not so much. And of course, we have, of course, not everybody's, a jiu-jitsu player, but for the most part, we're a jiu-jitsu crowd. So, So definitely, I wasn't, of course, I want this big impom moment like we have at the end of a great submission.
Yeah.
We didn't quite get that. We had actually some awesome judo in that short of a match, but a little bit of we're gonna slowly, hopefully, educate our fans as we go. So our idea is, at least from my perspective, is that this one we had one, maybe next time we can get like 3, and then again, maybe there'll be a little bit more filler matches, but hopefully we can start bringing some light to judo too, because I think it's just another beautiful martial art, and that is super exciting if you know what you're watching, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's definitely violent poetry for sure.
yeah, for sure.
Well, and the thing, like even locally, like despite being this dialed into the grappling martial arts jiu-jitsu crowd, I'll hear that like the judo tournament was this past week, and it's like, what?
Same here.
Yeah,
I'm
like
a coach.
but you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it feels so underground, and my whole life has been like underground sports, including jiu-jitsu kind of now. It's still relatively underground, but judo just seems so kind of hidden in the corner. So I think highlighting it at an event like that is just a great idea.
Yeah,
for sure.
well, and especially something that coincides so closely with jiu-jitsu, right? I mean, every jiu-jitsu player in the world has an osotogari in their repertoire.
Yep.
It's the first move that everybody
Yep.
does by accident,
Yep.
So everybody should at least know it's called an osotogari, But we used to call it the Blumer Special before I knew it was what, because people would try to osotogari me, but essentially I would osotogeishi them. So
Yeah.
I'd basically counter their
Yeah.
osotogari with an
Yeah.
osotogari. So we used to call it the Blumer Special.
Well, and
but-
that's the magic. That's why it's a great fit. That's the magic of judo. It's like just like jiu-jitsu. There's just a response for everything. So to see a big splash of an ippon, it's like, well, that was magic.
Yeah,
Anybody that's ever grabbed collars realize what just happened there.
For
man. That's
sure,
wild.
especially if you get like a seonagi or a beautiful drop seonagi. Like I said, how many jiu-jitsu players just have an amazing drop seonagi, and they're like, "Oh, I just do this little throw thing," and I'm like, my judo player me just goes, "Oh God, it's killing me here." Like a drop seonagi type move. Oh yeah, no, you grab like that one arm and then you kind of go to your. Oh gosh, well you're great at that move. You don't know the name too. Sorry.
Better to be able to do it than to name it. How about
That's,
that, man?
hey,
Fair
true.
enough.
Hey, true. If it works, right, it works, right? Doesn't
fair
mean it's not going to kill my soul a little bit.
Somebody somewhere's crying every time somebody can't name it.
I mean, a guy can also kind of wrestle his way into an armbar and be like, "Hey, look, I grabbed it and I got this thing and I pulled on it," and you accidentally fell and that guy's arm was there. You grabbed it. You just got the luckiest armbar in the world. But hey, you're right. You did get there.
You got it.
But again.
So tell me about a couple of weeks ago. What was the thing again?
You're talking about Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds. So the lightweights. So I was part of the whole trip was called the Jiu-Jitsu Overdose. It's something that Eddie Bravo and his crew with Master Victor Davila and Victor Davila Productions all put together on UFC Fight Pass. So what it was is basically like a jiu-jitsu destination vacation, but with the twist.
What a dream sounding thing.
Yeah. And I've seen a lot of other like jiu-jitsu vacations things, but the caveat to this is that there was not only seminars to go to and all these other things that you would have in all-inclusive resorts, but every single day there was a jiu-jitsu tournament. And one day was, and I'm not saying like tournament stand on, I should say a jiu-jitsu show because they are tournaments, but this is like a super fight show, like not like stand in one room and wait for 6 hours tournament type style.
Yeah.
More of a uncommon classic style than
Fight
it
to
would.
win type
Yes,
of thing.
exactly.
Yep.
Then, so they had athletes from all the world come for 4 different events. So the 4 events were: first night was Combat Jiu-Jitsu Mexico. Second night was Medusa, which is Combat Jiu-Jitsu females. Third night was EBI, so just submission only. Eddie Bravo Invitational, the 170ers, and they capped it off with Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds, the lightweights, on Sunday night. And that's the one I was part of.
That's a lot.
It was a lot.
How'd you do?
I ended up losing in the first round to the number 2 seed. So if you guys have grappled for a day or two, you probably know who Ben Eddy is, and you probably know what the Hindu Latin is. If you don't, look it up. It's a nasty.
Find my phone here.
Yeah, it's a nasty submission that Mr. Ben Eddy invented. Of course, after I found out the day of that who I was going to get the first round, of course. Said, I'm not going to get caught in Hindu Latin. And then, of course, fruitioned that right into fruition and got Hindu Latin, if my tongue works.
Let's describe the move or the submission for me best you can.
All right. So imagine that you are going to set up an omoplata. So you have an arm trapped to the mat. You start turning the corner like you're going to start setting up a omoplata. But instead of your foot coming in front of the face, okay. Your foot's going to stay over the back of the neck. You're going to reach your opposing arm over your own foot underneath my neck, and then the other hand's going to go underneath my neck. So instead of having my head trapped by the back of your bicep, like it normally is for a guillotine, the foot is actually holding. So even though there seemingly is nothing holding your head in there, he's over his foot, which is now pinning your head down, over and then around and then back under your neck. And he gets like about a little 3-finger grip that is just perfect for his stature and size, and yes, he will choke you unconscious. I didn't quite go unconscious, but I was on my way there. I was obviously hoping I was going to pass, if I could pass to the far side. I can start leaving lanes pressure that, but he's very good at what he does, and, unfortunately it was one of the matches, and I had him before, IBJF, my IBJF Worlds, you name it, I've had him. Sometimes matches just go downhill quick. And this was one that was going good right until it wasn't. So, because it started off me ended up on the bottom trying some judo, knowing that he wanted to get overhooks because everything is set up from overhooks. So he allowed me to get my underhook. So I needed to basically play judo right out the gate. And as soon as I felt him go to pull guard, I jumped to prevent ending up inside of his closed guard so I wouldn't get Hindu Latined. Instead,
I think the idea of a match going south real quick, anybody that's trained a week of jiu-jitsu is like, I bet. Just rolls in the gym, just go downhill real quick. Right?
Yep. Oh, yeah, I've had some where like go to pull guard, completely miss my grip, 13 seconds in, stuck in a triangle. You're like, didn't really plan to drive to Nashville for that, but here we go. So apparently we're going to fight out of a triangle right now.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so the match, like I said, was fast paced. Obviously, you had 16 people from all over the world trying to, win some money and, come home with a world champion. So I like my first round matchup. I knew what he was going to bring. I knew how I stifled it, and unfortunately ended up on bottom. I started playing my rubber guard, but unfortunately I left just the smallest little space, so he started past my guard, so I had to bail on my rubber guard. And then I was able to work my way back to the top position. And I wanted to soften up a little strikes because, again, I am an MMA guy as well as obviously being a black belt in jiu-jitsu. But I come from MMA, so I wanted to soften them up to, I went to go soften them up as soon as I get to the top, rush maybe just a little bit. And then instead of my hand going to the center, I went to the mat before I had even attempted to try to posture up. Foot's over my back. Yeah. Hindu Latin's coming. Yeah. I'm passing. And instead, I was tapping.
What's your bigger take on the combat jiu-jitsu thing? So you're a jits dork, but you're an old school MMA guy, and it's not a perfect in between, but it's in the middle there somewhere. What do you think?
Well, I like it because, again, say you just let everything go. Well, then you're just going to have an MMA fight. But I also, I think that sport jiu-jitsu is a beautiful thing. I still believe that there's nobody in their right mind that if we got an altercation on the street that you're going to sit on your butt and ask somebody to come in your guard.
Yeah.
I don't think that, somebody's punching your face that you're going to commit both hands to your feet. So I just think that sport jiu-jitsu is beautiful in its own right. I think MMA is beautiful in its own right. But I like the idea of bringing back the self-defense in a jiu-jitsu match. So for me, I think it obviously fits well with my game. But I like that it's, open hand palm strikes, right? And it's only one person's deemed grounded, right? So then strikes can stay. So I can still be standing, but if you're sitting on your butt, I can hit you. So it brings back that street fight or self-defense aspect to it.
Yeah.
But when you're standing up, we're not MMA fighting, so I'm not using my punches to set up takedowns. We're still just having a grappling match, right?
It'd be like power slap at that point. You're both
Right.
slapping each other.
Well, I'm still kicking myself. I was going to do a promo, but I thought, I didn't know if Eddie'd get all, I was going to do a promo for it. I'm getting ready for combat jiu-jitsu and then do a Mia thing, warming up, doing the warm-up for the power slap. And then I was like, Eddie doesn't know me,
I think...
So maybe he'd be like, dude, is this guy really training for power slap right now? I just invite him into the combat jiu-jitsu world. Now he's power slapping.
I feel like of all the people to be concerned about them, taking something the wrong way, he's probably not the guy. Doesn't seem like the guy.
That.
He don't give a shit.
Yeah.
That's my impression.
Yeah. Probably put his tinfoil hat on
Yes,
and be like, look at this conspiracy. I wonder what this power slap guy's going to do in this combat jiu-jitsu match.
Wonder what their ground game's like.
Yeah. But yeah, so like I said, didn't get the W like I wanted. But I mean, what an amazing experience as far as getting to, compete against, again, the number 2 seed in the world, essentially. That was there, definitely the number 2 side of my half of the bracket. It was one of the 2 matches I wanted. I assumed since, I'm a relative nobody, right? So, which I'm okay with, that's fine. I understand. I don't have a name value that these guys got. So, I would kind of assume that I was either going to get Ben or Nathan Orchard, or I would assume I would have got the champ, but they would have been on the opposite side. So when I got Ben, I liked my matchup. I still didn't think I performed the way I did, but sometimes it goes your way, sometimes it goes to others, and not all of them can be a drag out dogfight, which I wish it would have been. But it is, this is why I compete. If I knew I was going to win, I wouldn't even do it.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
Especially at my age and all the matches I had, I definitely wouldn't do it if I didn't like competing, and I definitely wouldn't be competing against 20-year-olds at my age if I didn't really enjoy this, and I still didn't think I could do it. So,
Still got that dog in you. That's good to hear.
Yeah, I still think there's some of it still in there anyways,
Tell me about the rest of the weekend, your impression, the experience of it all.
Jiu-Jitsu Overdose was just an amazing thing. They really, I think, did a great job of making it, whether you're, you were a competitor or if you were there just for the experience. From the opening ceremony, they had this big thing on the beach where they brought some traditional Mayans out and did like a Mayan dance. Obviously, Master Vic's very Spanish heritage, from Mexico. Yeah. So, so it's very, very, very kind of like a cool thing to they honored all the athletes and like honored all the belts and did like this ceremony, like this warrior ceremony. So it was super, super cool. It was great to see some people that I haven't seen in a very long time. So a lot of people don't know this, but Michael Beltran is also the one that reffed my world title fight against Frankie Saenz. Many a year ago, and funny things, of course, he's got like a steel trap for mine, so he remembered exactly what it was, and I'm not talking, like he said, and I go, and he goes, and then he mentioned the venue and all that stuff, so it's not like he was like, oh yeah, I gotta remember you, buddy, anyway, whoever that guy was, so.
Well, that's a superpower, man. I can't remember anybody's name and stuff.
Well, especially, how many fights you've even reffed and how many names you looked at, and I guess it was a world title fight, obviously, and Frankie went on to go to the UFC after that, so obviously,
it's a big deal at the time,
but yeah, for him to do that, and again, him and his girlfriend could have been more amazing people, Master Vic and Eddie, and the cool thing is you got like this melting pot, because obviously you got a strong 10th Planet group, around, but there's a lot of people from all different lineages, obviously, especially, part of the competitors, they're bringing friends and family too. So it was cool to see like the melting pot of jiu-jitsu minds on the mats, and Like I said, over the week, all the seminars, of seeing all the different people at the seminars, and then the way that they like ended Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds, is I shared a little bit on my story. Excuse me.
A few moments later.
But yeah, so the cool part is that, so after Combat Jiu-Jitsu went off the lightweights, they had the tournament finale. Mad Mash ended up winning it. I think a 20-year-old kid who had made it to the finals, the last one, ended up winning it this time, beating Ben Eddy in the finals. Great match. So the cool part is that after that all finished up, they did what they called after CJJ after party, finish up of Jiu-Jitsu Overdose, after party rave rolls. So everybody essentially went and got their rash guards on. They opened up the Combat Jiu-Jitsu mats. They, the big screen had like a DJ on it, and they started bumping the music. And at first, there's just a couple people rolling. I don't eat a whole lot the day of my competitions. Obviously, it's my Crohn's colitis. I got to be very careful of what I do. Obviously, not having a large intestine. So that's a whole nother
thing.
story. The 41 surgeries and all that. We can that'll be for a long that one. So believe it or not, through all my competition, through my whole MMA career, I was having surgeries in between all my fights, but. That's just because, so thank God jiu-jitsu is what I could do on like a month's notice. So if I was healthy for a month, I could do a jiu-jitsu tournament and then go have another surgery. But yeah, so that's for another story. So I don't eat much the day of the competition. So after I competed, roundabout.
I love it.
Yeah, so I don't eat. So after the fights or the matches got over and CJJ Worlds finished, I went and grabbed something to eat. We went back for the open rolls, and there's a couple people. There's probably like 6 groups out there. It was pretty quiet. The music was playing, and I'm like, kind of taking it in, let my belly, get settled there. And after, so my brother's like, I'm going to go up there and grab somebody. I'm going to go do some rolls. I'm like, all right, I'm going to,
You gotta.
Yeah, you're there, right? And I'm like sitting here, my stomach's sitting there, and I'm like, trying to let my belly rest. I'm like taking it all in, obviously not super happy of my performance,
sure.
but I don't get hung up on wins and losses, but I do. They all mean something to me. Mm-hmm. I put my heart into this, and I want to represent my team, my family, my friends. And again, you can't win them all. And, we're only one person gets to win. So it is what it is.
Yep.
But yeah, so I was kind of taking it all in. And while we're sitting there, some people started filing back in. And then a bigger group starts coming in, and then, Eddie and Master Vic come in. Eddie comes and sits right down next to me. So it was just cool. I'm sitting there with Eddie. We're kind of sitting there watching guys, looking at moves, kind of chatting back and forth, like, oh man, look at that. She had entry over there. That's pretty cool, and you kind of like see him analyzing the room, And we have a great conversation. He tells me that he was super pumped to have me, because the way that I actually got the opportunity is that they had somebody fall out. Mm-hmm. And after somebody fall out, they said, message in this comment if you would like to, or comment in this feed or whatever if you want in.
That's
cool. I did so, and I seen that a bunch of other people did so as well. Yeah. But I was like, something, I'm just gonna shoot a message. Shoot out a message out to Eddie Bravo and see what happens. Yeah. And shot a message out to Eddie Bravo, and he almost responded to me instantly. He said, hey, man, we already filled the spot. We appreciate you. That's pretty awesome. You just wanted to jump in. You get slapped in the face. I'm like, no problem. Let me know if anybody else happens.
Yeah.
And ended up next day, somebody else had dropped out, and he reached back out to me and said, so can you make the weight? And do you have a passport? Well, guess what? I haven't been to Japan for, now 13 years. So passport, of course, pick up my passport. He's like, you're in if your passport's good. Of course, pick up my passport when I get home from the gym, pick it up, and heart just crushed because my passport is 100% expired.
Yes. 10 years, right, for those?
Yep, 10 years, yep. Oh, and back then, too, I should have seen where I was going to Japan, and they're like, you need the thick book? I'm like, oh, I am going to be traveling so much, you better give me the one with the 10 extras. I used one. That was my world travels to Japan, and then that's it. So, good thing I paid the extra for all that. So, I believe honesty is the key in anything, so I just messaged it back, said, my heart's broke, but unfortunately, my passport's no good, and I said, hey, I know you got to move on. I mean, this is obviously, there's people from all over the world trying to get in this tournament, right? So it's like, hey, you're gonna have to move on. I 100% get it. I was like, I'm just gonna let you know. I'm gonna wake up bright and early in the morning. I'm gonna do my passport. I'm gonna expedite that thing, and so that's what I did. And I just said, I didn't bug him anymore. I'm sitting there, I'm not going to try to fanboy him just because he messages me back, So I did the next morning. I, did what I said I was going to do. I messaged back a picture of my passport being expedited and all that good stuff. And it was, quiet for a day or two. And then all of a sudden I hear back and he just said, so your passport's going to be here in time. And I said, yep. And they're telling me it's going to be here in, the next 10 days. And he's like, you're in. And so he just did what he said he was going to do. Yeah. And, so it was pretty awesome. Again, just shooting a whim out there. And so I said I was going to do. I got my passport and I started training from that day on. So, yeah. So
sometimes it's worth a little extra elbow grease.
Yeah.
To sneak your way into things.
Yeah. Well, I figure what's the worst case scenario? I mean, because, he doesn't answer me. I don't blame him for it. He just try to get my messages all the time. But, the cool part is when, kind of back to where I started that, we're sitting there and we're having that thing. And he just was telling me, how much of a gangster he thought I was, that I would even step in. Yeah. I technically, fight it, my MMA career was at bantamweight for the most part. Now I've fought as heavy as 55 as a professional. I'm actually undefeated as a lightweight as a professional.
Flex.
Most of my losses are at featherweight at bantamweight because again that's where I spent most of my career. But usually even now I typically compete at featherweight. But when opportunity knocks, you just take the opportunity. So I kind of just and just said lead in and said, hey, if you ever need anybody else, let me know. And he said that he'll definitely be keep me in mind and he'll definitely be reaching out again and that was pretty cool and
super cool.
So after that I was like had my little talk. I'm like give me some rolls and met some guy from Pennsylvania. We had like a 40-minute roll and just kind of like took it all in. But it was like I said, it was so cool because we're like roll, we like bump into another group and all of a sudden you like stop for a minute and then we'd be talking, catch me in something, he'd show me the entry. Mm-hmm. And then, you're sitting there and you're seeing people from Portland and Australia and Germany all talking, changing techniques, showing their favorite moves. And you kind of see Eddie and Master Vic are sitting on the side and you can see he's like looking at it, but he's looking at it a little bit different than everybody else, You can kind of see that he's kind of like, and then of course, a lot of his black belts out there too. So they'd grab a guy and pull him like, hey, Eddie, what do you think of this? And, he'd like look at it and be like, do it again. Look at him and be like, if you do this and take your hand and go to that side, I think it's going to work better for you. And then they'd be like, what's the name of this move? And they'd be like, naming moves, of course, the whatever, chemtrail sprays, I don't know, whatever.
Tinfoil hatatine.
Yeah, exactly. So it was just such a cool way to like end the whole like jiu-jitsu thing. And so by that to end, and there was probably 100 plus people. You have the Medusa girls, combat jiu-jitsu, Mexican people all back on the mat. You got myself that was in the tournament. Bad Andy's back out on the mat. Nathan Orchard's out on the mat. You got Gio and Boogie and all these like just
people
Curtis.
You follow on Instagram.
Exactly. Curtis that owns 10th Planet Austin. Just all could have been more amazing people. All just mixing up techniques, beating each other up, having just a great old time. And that's kind of like how the whole Jiu-Jitsu Overdose kind of finished up. And it was just like me for sulking my wounds from my loss. Like I said, it was at least a good way to finish it up and
leave on a higher note than a loss.
Yeah, yep. And again, hey, I knew it was a good possibility I could lose in the first round. That was actually my first time going to a world tournament and losing in the first round. So I was fortunate enough I've made it through the first round. Again, I'm not saying that everyone I go to I can lose in the first round, but I was kind of hoping I keep my tradition going, especially on the big show. Yeah. Ben Eddie had another idea, so but again, could have been more of a cool guy, and and same with like Nathan Orchard and all these guys. So kind of the funny part, right, is that to do a seminar every day, and I'm there. I need workouts anyway, so I'm going to seminars each day, learning some new moves, getting my workouts there. So they finished seminar. Me and my brother would stay, slap the heck out of each other with my buddy Nick that came with us as well with his family. Slap each other, bother their mats for a little while. And, so we'd be sitting there, doing that stuff. Well, something happened with Jean-Jacques was supposed to be doing a seminar, and something happened. So I'm assuming Eddie reached out to Nathan Orchard, say, hey, man, obviously he's got a, very well-known name, very well-known game. He's like, would you be interested in doing the seminar? Well, And this guy just comes coming in the seminar, and he's like, comes up, shows the first move, he's walking around, and I'm like, I kind of like walk towards him, I'm like, hey man, I kind of ask him a question, I'm like, hey, what do you think about this grip, and he's like, you look really, really familiar. I'm like, well, you might know me from some of my combat stuff, but you probably know me because I'm in your division. And he's like, little pause, and I'm like, hey man, just gonna let you know, like I said, this is all professional for me. This isn't a personal thing for me. Yeah. If you beat me, we get lined up, chances of me pulling some move that you just showed off on you in 2 days' time is probably pretty slim, but it's like, slim. Hey, but I totally get it if you don't want me here watching your seminar, and he's like, no, man, we just squashed right here, dude. We're all good, blah, blah. But then the best part is we're in the seminar. What does somebody say? Any other questions? He's like, so show me like your go-to best move that you would do. And he just goes, well, is anybody else besides Marvin in my bracket here? And then, of course, everybody's kind of like, so I'm probably not going to show that move, so.
Give you the second best, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, maybe the second best move. But I'll say such a good style for like us, and at least this gym anyways, and our Minnesota style, because he's a 10th Planet guy, so obviously he's got all the twister and all that good stuff in there, but he's got like a wrestling background, so he's from the Northeast there, so very very unique 10th Planet game, so it's very wrestling heavy with a lot of 10th Planet stuff, so it's very, 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 very cool game. So the stuff he was showing, I'm like, actually, this is probably going to fit my game pretty well.
So that was going to be a follow-up question of mine, so you were able to pull some stuff from some of these seminars and kind of implement some ideas here?
100%. Obviously, Nathan Orchard, like I said, being a wrestling, because we start every night on our feet here. This is just how we do it.
That's why I don't roll here.
Yeah. Now you don't have to. You 100% can butt scoot. You'll probably have my judo guys harass the heck out of you butt scoot. But
bring it. As long as I don't land, we're okay.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, no. So, from the stuff that Curtis from 10th Planet showed was just amazing. Eddie and Master Vic, of course, had just amazing stuff if you're a rubber guard type player, but so much of it touched, even if like say you weren't like a 10th Planet or a rubber guard player, there was so much that would still implement into your game. And of course Gio, obviously me and him very close body style, so so he showed a bunch of bear trap stuff, so if you're coming in here you're gonna plan on stepping in a bunch of bear traps, so just gonna happen.
Nice. So you'd recommend this experience, I take it?
Oh, 100%.
As a competitor, but also as just somebody looking to do some seminars and watch the show, I bet.
For sure. Yeah. And then the other part I didn't get to is that 2 of the nights there's actually, live comedy shows as well.
Oh, cool.
So like they had Sam Tripley out there, Chingo Bling, a guy named Eli Harper. I just want to give a shout out to all them guys too, because they were just so funny, and they're all like jiu-jitsu, most of them are pretty new to jiu-jitsu, but they're all jiu-jitsu guys too. Some of their jokes kind of can involve us, simpleton jiu-jitsu people. Well, at least I'm a simpleton jiu-jitsu person, but so some of the jokes go over my head sometimes. But the best part is then at the on the seminars we're all sharing the mats, so they're up on the stage, but then the next day we're sharing on the mats, and Eddie's like, hey, don't be bumping into the black belts over there, hey, little white belt back over there, just obviously joking around. So now we get to throw the jokes out, but then to get some stories from my brother, because for me, work vacation. So my work vacation, I had the first time we were there, I had I think I had 2 beers, maybe 3, and I went to the nightclub, did a little bit of dancing, and like I said, next day, boom, running. Then I'm back to the weird guy running around campus, like guys going, cut weight, I'm running by, whatever. So I'm just bad that guy. But my brother, he definitely got to spend a little bit more time with the comics and that. I mean, there's some stories, probably some videos out there of my brother getting to know everybody, but it was just good stuff. So like the next day, of course, like I said, all these guys are on the mats bumping into us, like I said, like, oh, sorry, like I said, but then, a couple hours later, they're on the stage and we're sitting there watching
cool.
them. So just like a melting pot of all these like great people, just laid back and just there to have a good old time.
It gets to be a human thing too. It's not just I went and saw a show and then the guy left town. I got to see the show. I got to do the seminar. I got to compete with the high level guys, and then we're just hanging out rolling too. That's awesome.
Yeah. Or sitting on the beach and, so that was the coolest part. Like I said, I literally met people from all over the world. Everyone I met was so great. so many people that I think are going to end up stopping by my gym that we met. So many gyms I'm going to end up stopping by, whether it be here in the States or other countries, Costa Rica and all over the place. I mean, literally just from all over. So it was just great and amazing experience. And so I will be in Puerto Vallarta next year, whether I'm competing or not. I just, to me, it was a no-brainer, the all-inclusive thing. I'll really get my money's through if I'm not on the card, but just because I get to really party it up a little bit. But like I said, even not getting to do like everything that like the whole parties every night and all that stuff, because obviously I sat some things out trying to keep my eye on the prize. So eye on the prize first. So
definitely.
So but yeah, so I will 100% be there. Such a great experience. So
cool, man. I'm glad I grabbed you to tell me about it. That seems super cool. You're going back, you say?
For sure.
What's coming up here at the gym? Anything, or what's happening? What's news?
So right now at the gym, we're kind of getting done with this. We just got done. So my buddy Chad, which you get to see working out a little bit earlier, he just got back from No-Gi World. So me and him are kind of prepping at the same time. Different thing, but the same at the same time. So now we'll start gearing up towards pans. Again, I'm an old cat, but I like to keep something on the board for the group. I like to try to keep people busy, and my ADHD needs something to keep me moving forward here.
I can relate to that.
Yeah, don't leave me without nothing to do. Then everything's getting half done.
Yep.
Okay, so if you give me something one thing's gonna get done, but you leave me nothing, there's gonna be a bunch of half done things everywhere. Okay.
You've been talking to my wife. What is this? An intervention?
Yeah. Actually, she called me earlier. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah. So we'll be getting ready for pans. We are trying to get some guys ready. Hopefully, get them on that Ignite card coming up for some kickboxing and possibly some MMA fights. And then other than that, for myself,
Ritsu too. You got guys.
We got Ritsu. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, thanks for making sure you bring that up. And I think we have some people coming. Going to do some of the Ice Anti Grappling Club in Grappling Invitational.
Yeah, 25th.
25th.
Of
Yep.
January, a couple of weeks after Ritsu.
Yeah. Yep. So I got some guys that I think that are interested in that. So I like that there's continue to be more options. Anything that's going to continue to bring jiu-jitsu together in Minnesota here, martial arts in general, I'm down, and I will always encourage my people to try to get on them cards. So I haven't decided if I'm going to compete in any of these ones yet. I might sit back and do a little coaching and beer drinking for a little bit.
Yeah.
But chances are I'll probably find something to do, I'm sure. So, I just something about getting a good sweat, and then some people like to run away from the fire. For some reason I like to run into it, and something about getting my butt kicked. I hate it and love it at the same time. So cool. If anybody wants to kick my butt, you just go ahead and stop at MSMA anytime. I roll with anybody and everybody. So, and if you want to punch me in the face, I will spar with everybody and anybody too. So I just something about, give me a black eye just gives me a smile on my face. I do have an identical twin brother, and like I said, you'll have to hear his stories, his stories from Cancun. Might be a little bit more not PG-13. So
that'll go on the Patreon or something.
That one. Yeah, exactly. You're gonna be adult content. No, just kidding. But there may or may not be some dance videos floating around. Okay, so if you got them, go ahead and delete them for me, because again, even if it's him, they think it's me anyway. So
I'm gonna hit him up on the DMs. Thanks, brother.
Thank you so much, Matt. It's a great pleasure, brother. And I was glad to have be back on the podcast.
Hell yeah, man.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for doing it.
Yeah.